Everyone thinks gardening is the answer, but here's the truth no one wants to say out loud. Gardening alone will not save you, not in a disaster immediately, not in a food shortage, and not in your first year, maybe. Now, this depends on do you have a bunch of gardening stored? Is it the middle of gardening season when something breaks out? Survival isn't a garden. Survival is a system. And if you don't understand the system, a garden is just a hobby. Now, I am team garden. I say grow a garden. Let's just get that clear. I'm not saying not to garden, but we're going to talk about gardening plus, gardening and how do we set up our garden for our own self worth, right? So team replay, what's one food you rely on first if the grocery store closed? Do you go to your garden crops? Do you go to wild foods or do you have things stored? These all go together. So why am I talking about this? There was a short that I have out, which shorts comment sections get a little composty, and somebody had brought up, what's the point of gardening? It's not going to matter fully. It won't keep you alive long term. Like it was just this argument on what's the point? Well, I want to say we can set up our garden for survival, but we need to remember that there's other pieces to pull from it. Now, I'm not talking about all things survival together today. I'm not getting into shelter, fire, navigation, safety, all the stuff. I'm talking about feeding ourselves. That's all I want to hit on here. Gardens are seasonal. Plants can take months to mature, and most garden crops are low in fat. When we're talking about feeding the whole body, we need to talk about our plates, okay? Weather can wipe out an entire harvest overnight. How many of us that have raccoons take out our corn, deer come and graze, something underground chews stuff up? That was our food, right? So let's talk about our immediate calories. Safe foraging, okay? Having 100%, I know what this is. I know how to use it. I know my body can tolerate it. Just because it's edible doesn't mean it's palatable and I might be allergic to it. Having lessons, having books, having gone out with somebody, knowing how to do this. So this is where I'm not telling you to eat wild mushrooms, okay? But if you know the chanterelles, the oysters, the morels, and you can safely do this, that's going to help you, right? And you should be able to preserve them for when they're not in season, which we'll talk about. The roots, there's cattails, burdock, wild sunchokes. I don't recommend, but it's on the list. Shoots, like milkweed shoots, spruce tips, knotweed, berries, serviceberry, mulberry, blackberry. The point of this is what grows where you live. Pick a month. Is there something wild out there? You know, you might have heard of Robin Greenfield. He is living that style. He is living off of foraged foods for a whole year. He's on like month 2 right now over in Wisconsin. People are doing it, right? These are our instant food. There's no 90-day wait, but they require a skill, the timing, paying attention, knowing what you're doing. Now, also pair that with staples that come locally. Like for Minnesota, there's a section that grows wild rice, which is huge for nutrition and storability. And you could team up with them or barter and trade or say, I will work for you to get, a big bag, a big bucket. I don't know what it's called. Is it bushel of rice, right? What is the thing that grows well in your state, in your area? Get on that. Get some from them. This is a team community thing. I'm not saying you have to grow that. Go get it. Water is everything. Let's talk about water and natural springs, okay? So you can garden without fertilizers and you can forage without tools. You can't do any of it without water, right? So I encourage you to check out the website linked in the description, findaspring.org. It'll give you type in your zip code and so many miles of a map. You can see where springs have been pinged that are safe. So finding the spring, maintaining the water, learning filtration, how to store your water. You need water to garden, you need water to live. We have to say water in this conversation, right? Now, fat is the missing survival macro, isn't it now? Do you get fat from your garden? Let's talk about it. Wild game has fats, fish oils, so you can get your rendered tallow or lard from a cow or a pig. Nuts, this is where gardening comes in, or foraging. Nuts like hickory, walnut, acorn. Seeds, your pumpkin seeds, your sunflower seeds. That's where we're going to get our fats in this situation. this we're feeding ourselves situation. Honey is not a fat, but instant calories, stores forever, so good for you. Get a buddy that has bees, that knows how to get the honey if you're not into that. Now, up here in Minnesota, we got maple syrup, liquid calories, okay? It is shelf stable forever, right? Just like honey. So if you don't have maple syrup in your area, maybe there's a different type of sap that can be turned into a syrup that you're safe and know how to use, right? So look into that. Tell me in the comment section, what would you do? Maybe there's different parts of the tree you want to talk about with our foraging. Enlighten me, educate me. Let's have a conversation. And a reminder, if you haven't subscribed yet, please hit the button. If you already are, thank you. One of the best ways we can support each other is by sharing with a friend, with a neighbor, with another gardener. Now, drying herbs and tea. You might be questioning, why is this on the list? Okay. Will herbs save your life calorie wise? No, but there's a lot of no buts in the gardening. When you're living off wild foods and garden scraps, good tea is actually medicine. It is good for our bodies. So, pine needle tea, vitamin C, mint for digestion, nettles for minerals. There's somebody out there that always teaches me about nettles, and there's something new, I swear, every time. It's one of those plants where if you were getting sent to a deserted island, you would have nettles with you to plant because they will help your body. Yarrow for immune support. Sage is anti-inflammatory. Don't forget the herbs. There are herbs that are perennialized. They grow every single year, and there's probably bushes of them. You got to know how to use them, though, and how to store them. It's a whole thing. The real price of survival is our time. What time does it take? Again, just talking about gardening. And we have to say the word community here. It has to be a community effort. Start seeds. Weed. Now, we can use weeds in a lot of ways. Weeds aren't all bad, okay? So we did a live stream talking about that. I can link that in the description. Someone has to water the crops if it's not raining. Protecting from pests, furry or not, right? Building soil, the actual harvest, the processing, the preserving, the storing, rotating batches. We have to keep our eyes on it first in, first out. We have to look at what's going out, what's going bad to get it used up right away. Again, our seasonal foraging. There's hunting going on. There's rendering or salting. There's chopping of wood. There's hauling of water, there's cooking from scratch. But most importantly, the things that we need to do with our time is staying healthy and keeping your head on straight. Okay? Survival isn't a task, it's a full-time job, and you don't get days off, right? Again, community is big here. Now, storage is the real survival multiplier. We've talked about the hunger gap that happens when there's nothing to grow, you can't grow, or maybe you've started growing, but nothing's ready yet. What are we going to do in that gap? We did a whole show about it. Link will be in the description. So let's go over some storage stuff. There are dehydrating, fermenting, pickling, canning, smoking, putting something in a cool, dry place. We hear the term root cellar a lot. Some people build things like this. They bury coolers. They have little cold spots in their house that they know about. It doesn't have to be a basement or an underground thing. It looks like a lot of different things. Salting, freezing if that's available. Definitely here in Minnesota we have freezing. Drying herbs, storing the nuts, storing the syrup and the honey. A survival pantry is built from wild foods plus garden foods, plus your animal fats, plus your herbs, plus those sweeteners. That's a full ecosystem, okay? So this is where I say gardening alone won't save you, but gardening plus foraging, plus the wild foods, plus thinking about fats, plus the water, plus the storage, plus our time, plus the skills. That's the real system. That's the resilience. That's our freedom. Okay. So if this gave you something to think about, hit the like, drop a comment with the wild food that you want to learn next. We can grow to share in 2026. If you want to support the channel, become a member. Every membership helps keep us teaching and growing. It provides seeds to experiment with. We're doing indoor gardening right now for winter. It provides books that we can then read and share on the channel. There's so much that it helps with. They start at 99 cents a month. Find the join button in the link in the description. Thanks for gathering around. Keep creating, keep experimenting. We did a whole live stream about this topic. So if you want to hear what other people had to say about it, or if you want to read the live chat replay, I'll put a link to the full show in the description because we talked about this in depth and it was very exciting. And I always encourage everyone to grow every day and every way.